to invite Kate Green, who is our local MP. And before she comes over, when Allama Sahab wrote to Kate Green, without any spare of moment, she immediately raised this matter in the Parliament. And I understand it was raised on the floor of the Parliament, and the matter is being addressed. We had a short chat in the office in respect to keeping this issue alive, and Kate will be sharing her thoughts about what she is going to be doing in the future with regard to this matter. It was raised on the floor, but we don't want to keep this on the floor. We want to take it upstairs and to the highest level until we are satisfied something appropriate is done with regard to this matter. I will, on behalf of the audience, behalf of the mothers and sisters that are also sitting in the next hall, invite Kate Green, MP, who has been kindly sitting patiently to share her thoughts with regard to this. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum. It is an enormous pleasure and privilege for me to be here today with my neighbours, friends, sisters, brothers, honoured imams, elders, people of our community. And I am very proud and privileged that this important, vital conference is taking place here in my constituency. And I want to say a special word of thanks to Sheikh Ghulam Rabbani, our host here at this conference this afternoon. And I want to congratulate all of you. And I know you come from many different parts of Manchester, and indeed we are privileged to welcome guests from beyond Manchester, from Birmingham, and I hope from beyond. I know you come from many different strands of Islam, and I congratulate and honour you for coming together today so that we may all share our thoughts, our concern, a discussion about the things that we value and the actions that we want to take together to bring people of all faiths and of no faith to a mutual respect and understanding of one another and a more peaceful, prosperous and happy community. And I am very lucky to represent a community where many, many different peoples, many different cultures, many different ethnic groups live, work, play, worship harmoniously in the same community. We are neighbours, we are colleagues, we are friends, we meet each other in the streets, in shops, at the doctor's surgery, at the school gate, at the Sure Starts, in our community centres. We are friends and neighbours together in our everyday lives. And the friendship that creates our strong community hasn't come about by accident. It is the result of commitment, and I must say it is the result of leadership from respected imams, elders, Christian leaders, Jewish leaders, the Sikh leaders, many, many community leaders who have worked together with our communities to ensure that we live here together in friendship and in peace. And everybody in our communities should be congratulated on the success of our achievement. But we have to guard our achievement. We have to protect our achievement. We have to care for and preserve our achievement. Because if we take it for granted, if we think the job is now completed, if we think that there is no more work for us to do together, we will open the door to hatred, to extremism, to violence and to disturbance. And nobody here wants that to happen in our world. And that is why I responded so quickly when I received the letter from the Manchester Council of Mosques expressing deep concern about the impact of the very offensive YouTube film, The Innocence of Muslims. Concern was expressed to me about the impact that this film would have on peace and harmony in and between our communities. And that is why I was proud but also determined to speak out about this offence in Parliament, and I took the first opportunity that I could take to do that. And it was a very opportune time in Parliament, in fact, because in recent weeks we have been having a debate about the equalities legislation, about the role of our Equalities and Human Rights Commission. And it was very, very fortunate timing, I think, that we were able to bring the attention of Parliament to this issue at precisely the moment when Parliament was considering that wider context. And it is important now that we all continue to speak out about our values, our beliefs and our principles, and what it is that we will not tolerate. And it is quite acceptable for us not to tolerate hatred and division and dissent. And that is why I am so pleased to have received today a copy of the letter which Shaykh Ghulam Rabbani has written to our Prime Minister, Mr. David Cameron. And I too will now write to Mr. David Cameron, pointing out the deep concerns felt in the community and asking that his response to your letter is a constructive and forward-looking response. Other speakers have said that of course we must balance religious freedom and freedom of speech. But freedom of speech comes with responsibility. And what we must debate now is how we oblige people to take that responsibility or express our disapproval and prevent further actions of that sort where they do not. The dignity, the respect, the courtesy that we afford one another, that we afford one another's belief, one another's faith, one another's religion, is a dignity, a respect, a courtesy that must be afforded to all. There are not faiths that are more legitimate or less legitimate in this country. Faith, belief must be respected, whether it is the Christian, the Jewish, the Muslim, the Sikh, the Hindu, or many other faiths that we are fortunate to welcome in this country of ours. All must be given and deserve respect. So I've begun, thanks to your important work in drawing this hurt to my attention, to speak about these issues in Parliament. And over the next few months, I intend to do more. I will write to Mr. David Cameron, the Prime Minister. I will present the petition that was given to me last weekend, signed by many, many hundreds of my neighbours and friends. I will present that in Parliament to my parliamentary colleagues. I will work with colleagues in Parliament, members of Parliament who, like me, are deeply concerned about the impact of this film, so that we can press together for action to be taken to prevent this kind of hatred happening again. I will be asking if we can have a debate in Parliament about the issue. I will be tabling questions in Parliament to ask the government what they are doing to take action about this kind of behaviour. It is, of course, difficult. The British government cannot do everything in isolation, because when a film is on the internet, of course, it's available right around the world. So it is also important that we ask the British government what they are going to do in cooperation with other governments and how we are going to use our international authority so that this debate takes place not just in Old Trafford, not just in Manchester, not just in Great Britain, but right around the world. And what I want finally to say is that some people have said to me, Kate, do you think we can have new legislation? Do you think that the legislation must be stronger? Do you think that the law must be changed? I will tell you honestly, I don't know the answer to that. I do not know if we need to change the law, and if so, how we would need to change it. That is something we must discuss and debate together, must discuss and debate within the Muslim community, between Muslim and other communities, with our young people, many of whom, of course, we will be particularly concerned, could be influenced by films like this. We must discuss with our ladies and with our young men, with our elders and our respected imams and teachers. And I know that that process of discussion is actually every bit as important as what we decide we might do in terms of changing the law. Because it is only when we are discussing with one another, when we are acknowledging the tension and the difficulty of reconciling religious freedom and freedom of speech, that we will continue to respect those two freedoms and give them the proper dignity that they are due. Now, Labour today is the party of opposition in Parliament. When we return to power, inshallah, I undertake to you that this is a subject that if legislation is needed, I will be pressing the Labour Party to make part of our legislative programme in the future. Today, let us, however, discuss what we can do without perhaps even the necessity of legislation, how we can improve good practice, how we can ensure there is training of all the different professions who must be aware of religious tolerance and how that is balanced with freedom of speech. We are lucky that Tony Lloyd has joined us this afternoon, and if he becomes our Police and Crime Commissioner, as I believe he will on the 15th of November here in Manchester, I know that Tony will be very concerned about the training and the awareness of our police. We need training and awareness of workers in our schools, of our teachers, our youth workers, our social workers, our community workers. We need to spread the understanding and the message far and wide and ensure that where there are problems, where there is unhappiness, where there is fear and where there is insult, we have the processes to identify and respond to that as a community. And I seek your help, and I believe from the tremendous turnout today that we will all want to work together to make sure that we start to put those processes in place. Thank you for inviting me today. This has been a very important conference for me to come to, and I want to say how grateful I am that you have come together to talk about and share your concerns and your thoughts. But this conference is just the beginning of a conversation I hope we will continue until we manage, as I believe we can, to eradicate intolerance, eradicate hatred, and preserve the respect, the dignity, and the courtesy that we all owe one another, all of us, of all faiths or of none. Thank you for being here today and for your strong support.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.